South Africa is now standing at a crossroads where politics and economics are more deeply connected than ever before. In the aftermath of the 2024 national elections, where no party gained an outright majority, the creation of the Government of National Unity between the African National Congress and the Democratic Alliance has introduced a new era of collaboration and compromise. One of the clearest examples of this shift can now be seen in how the National Treasury is crafting the next budget, a process that will directly shape the country's future. At the center of this growing development stands Deputy Finance Minister Ashor Sarupen, a prominent Democratic Alliance strategist and finance expert whose influence inside the Treasury is now becoming increasingly clear. To fully appreciate how we arrived at this moment, it is important to understand the long-standing relationship between the ANC and the DA when it comes to economic policy and governance. For many years, the ANC maintained tight control over the National Treasury, a key institution responsible for managing the country's finances, setting tax policy, and balancing the national budget. The Treasury has often been viewed as one of the more stable institutions in government, but even it has not been immune to political pressure, allegations of mismanagement, and the broader struggles facing South Africa's economy. On the other hand, the Democratic Alliance, long in opposition, built its political brand on promises of clean governance, fiscal discipline, and a market-friendly approach to economic growth. The DA has frequently argued for reforms that prioritize cutting wasteful expenditure, improving public sector efficiency, and encouraging private investment. Figures like Helen Zille, the party's Federal Council chairperson, have consistently pushed for policies that stress accountability and evidence-based decision-making. With the 2024 elections forcing the ANC into a power-sharing deal, these two ideologies are now meeting directly inside some of the most powerful institutions in the country. Sarupen's appointment as Deputy Finance Minister following the elections was a clear sign that the DA intended to have a real hand in economic management, not just symbolic participation. Ashor Sarupen is not just any DA politician. He is a seasoned strategist and member of parliament with a strong background in economics and public finance. His reputation within the party has been built on a deep understanding of budget processes, fiscal data, and long-term policy planning. According to Helen Zille, his current role inside the Treasury team crafting the national budget reflects the DA's commitment to both fiscal responsibility and pragmatic economic reform. Zille emphasized during a recent media briefing that the DA's participation in government is not about political convenience but rather about ensuring that public money is spent wisely and transparently. She explained that Sarupen is one of several DA-aligned finance specialists currently embedded in the Treasury, providing research, technical expertise, and policy input as the 2025-26 budget is prepared. The collaboration comes at a critical time. South Africa is facing a sluggish economic growth rate, mounting public debt levels that continue to rise each year, and enormous demands from citizens for increased social spending, better infrastructure, and more jobs. These pressures are difficult to balance. Economists have already raised concerns about the possibility of austerity measures or spending cuts if the Treasury tries too aggressively to stabilize the country's finances. At the same time, investors both locally and internationally are closely watching how South Africa handles its budget process, with confidence in fiscal management playing a large role in whether capital continues to flow into the country. The key question now is how Sarupen and his colleagues intend to navigate these challenges. According to sources, the DA-affiliated team inside Treasury is focusing heavily on three broad priorities. First is the push for structural reforms that remove inefficiencies and modernize how government departments operate. Second is an emphasis on improving public sector efficiency by cutting unnecessary costs and making service delivery more effective. Third is the reduction of fiscal leakage, which means minimizing corruption, waste, and unauthorized spending that drains the state's resources. These priorities have been championed by the DA for years and align closely with what many economists argue is necessary for long-term sustainability. While Treasury has not yet publicly confirmed its full budget team, reports indicate that several specialists linked to the DA have been seconded to assist with research, data modeling, and policy proposals ahead of the official budget tabling in Parliament later this year. The implications of this collaboration are far-reaching. On one hand, it signals a maturing of South Africa's democracy where parties that were once rivals are now working side by side to address urgent national issues. If successful, the partnership could lay the foundation for future cooperation and possibly restore investor confidence, while improving how government spends taxpayers' money. On the other hand, the risk of political tensions remains. Critics from opposition parties and even factions within the ANC may argue that the DA's growing influence inside Treasury could tilt policy in favor of austerity or reduce social welfare spending, something that could spark unrest or backlash from unions and civil society groups. Zille, however, has tried to ease those fears by reaffirming that the DA's role is focused on safeguarding economic integrity and making sure every rand delivers value and accountability. She stated clearly that Sarupen's presence is not about political power but about bringing fiscal discipline to the forefront at a time when it is most urgently needed. Looking ahead, South Africans will want to watch closely how the 2025-26 budget shapes up under this new collaborative environment. If Sarupen and his team can successfully balance the competing demands of economic reform, debt control, and social spending while improving efficiency, it could mark the beginning of a new chapter in how South Africa manages its finances. However, if internal disagreements, political interference, or unpopular spending cuts derail the process, it could deepen existing frustrations and undermine trust in the government of national unity experiment. Either way, what happens in the next few months inside the National Treasury will have consequences that ripple far beyond the budget documents themselves. It will influence how businesses plan their investments, how citizens experience public services, and how political alliances evolve ahead of future elections. Thank you guys for watching this deep dive into the evolving role of Ashor Sarupen and the Democratic Alliance inside South Africa's National Treasury. What do you think about DA's growing influence over budget decisions? Do you believe fiscal discipline and reforms will improve our economy, or are you worried about potential spending cuts? Please share your views in the comments section below. We really want to hear what you think about these big developments. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more in-depth political updates and analysis. Hit the like button and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next video. Thanks again for watching and we'll see you in the next one.